It's my pleasure to welcome you to Answers from Scripture. Whether you're just being introduced to the Bible for the first time or you've been studying it for a lifetime, I'm confident that you'll benefit from Brother Mark's passionate explanations for the Word of God.
Hey, welcome, friends. I'm your host, Brother Mark. This is Answers from Scripture. And a viewer recently asked the question, who or what or where is this mystery Babylon? In Revelation chapter 17 and verse 5, we read, upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I'm going to say a couple of things. First off, historically, Bible believers have believed that the mother of harlots, Mystery Babylon, is none other than the Roman Catholic Church. We're going to see why that's been believed. At the end, tell to what degree I agree with it and to what degree I don't, with a little bit of a twist. But let me say first, it's a mystery. The fact that it's a mystery tells me three things. Number one, it tells me I don't know. It tells me I don't know. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called a mystery. Now we see through a glass darkly. Now we know in part. I don't know. I can't solve all the mysteries. It's a mystery. Number two, it tells me it's not literal Babylon. Were it literal Babylon, it would just say Babylon. But it says mystery Babylon. It doesn't say literal Babylon. Just like another place in Revelation where it's talking about Jerusalem, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. Spiritually called. And it's not literally Sodom, not literally Egypt. And so mystery Babylon is not literally Babylon, but figuratively. It's a mystery I don't know. It's not literal Babylon, it's figurative, but a mystery usually brings clues with it, and there are clues we can study to make an educated guess. Mystery Babylon. Mystery Babylon is a religious place. It's a religious place. We read about it in Revelation chapter 18 and verse 23, for example. It says, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. Okay, where do people go to light candles? Well, we think right away church, and most of us even think the Roman Catholic Church. And the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. Where do people go to get married? Well, we think right away church, and then if you watch Hollywood movies, you think the Catholic Church. You think everybody that got married gets married in the Catholic Church. And then it goes on to talk about sorceries, which is something that's very indicative of the Catholic Church. And then about the blood of the prophets and of the saints. The Vatican has thousands of human skulls buried under it and has gotten drunk on the blood of the saints. All of these things let us know hints that it could be Roman Catholicism, but clearly that it is religious, the place you go to light candles, the place you go to get married. If we look back at the old Babylon, the original Babylon, in Genesis chapter 10 and 11, we also see a religious quality to it. They're building this great tower. What are they trying to do? I think two things. They're trying to escape future judgment of sin, and they're trying to reach heaven through their own human effort. You say, escape future judgment of sin. Well, there had been a previous judgment of sin, the great flood. And clearly God promised never to cover the entire earth with a great flood again. But some people perhaps doubted the promise, or perhaps forgot the promise, or perhaps never learned the promise. And so what did they set about to do? They set about to build a tower, but not just any tower, a tower that would cause them, they felt, to escape another judgment on sin. If there's another flood, we'll escape the judgment on sin, and we'll reach heaven through our own human efforts. What does that sound like to you? That sounds like empty religion. Religion is that effort to escape sin's penalty and to reach heaven through our own human merit. Not only is it religious in nature, but it's prideful in nature. Every time this Babylon is talked about in the book of Revelation, every time it's talked about in Revelation, it talks about great Babylon, or that great city, or the great city Babylon. There's always that word with it, something of a pompous nature, of notoriety, of something that's been seen all across the world and known across the world. But we also see There was a prideful arrogance that was the purpose or the objective of the first Babylon. That tower was being built, it says in Genesis chapter 11, that we might make a name for ourselves. So it's religious in nature. It has a prideful motivation. And then we also see that it's universal. It's universal. The abominations of the earth. Verse 1, the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Or if you look at other verses, for example, in chapter 14 of Revelation and verse 8, Revelation chapter 14 and verse 8, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, the great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Can you think of a religious body where people go to light candles and a place where people go to get married, and that's affected all the nations of the earth? It's universal. You go back to the first Babylon. The people were of one speech and of one nation, and rather than dispersing all around the world as God had commanded them to do, they were staying in one place because they wanted to be the universal religion. In fact, the word Catholic means universal. The concept Catholic and church are oxymoronic. They don't go together. Church is a local assembly, and Catholic is universal. They don't even fit together. But it fits this description here. It's religious in connotation. It's a mystery, number one. It's religious, number two. It's prideful, number three. And it's universal. Now let's see if we can find any description about this Babylon. It says in verse 2, with whom the kings of the earth hath committed fornications. Can you think of a time period called the Holy Roman Empire when the kings committed fornication with this universal religious body? Okay, let's look at verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. Now first I want to point out that it's a woman. It's the mother of harlots. This religion calls itself the mother church, and even tried to, certain translations of the Bible put the word mother. I will build my mother church. They just sneaked it in there without any textual reason for it. Mother church. The first universal religion in Babel was the worship of Nimrod and his mother. And she was even said to be a virgin, but the Bible tells us that's not true because Cush was the one that begat Nimrod. But this is the first occurrence of a worship of a mother. And all through Babylonian history, there's been those pictures, those images that today would be considered Madonna and child. But they weren't about Mary and Jesus. They were about Nimrod and Nimrod's mother. Over and over again, we see this female, it's mother, it's a woman, it's the mother of harlots, and she's committed fornication with a king. Now we keep reading. It says, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. I want you to think of the last time you saw a picture of a ceremony at the Vatican, and how were the people dressed? The leaders were dressed in purple and scarlet, or purple and red, and decked with gold. Yep, check that box. And precious stones and pearls. Check that box. Having a golden cup or chalice in her hand. Check that box. Over and over again, we see a description that reminds us. In fact, in Jeremiah 44 was written in the year 586 BC. That's the first year of Babylonian captivity. And do you know what it warns the people? That they're starting to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven. Where do they go to burn incense? I wonder why they do that. In our Bible-believing churches, we don't do that, but they're burning incense. Not only they're burning incense, but to a woman, to a Queen of Heaven. And again, this is a reference to they're committing spiritual whoredoms with Babel and this Babylon, which now we're looking at Mystery Babylon. There's another reason people believe that is talking about the Roman Catholic Church. Its location is on one hand said to be on many waters or every nation, so it's all over the world, and yet its specific headquarters. Look at verse 9, if you will. Revelation 17 and verse 9. It says, here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. The woman is this mystery Babel, and it sat on a beast, and the beast had 7 heads, and now it's explaining the 7 heads are the 7 mountains on which the woman sat. Is there a place in the world of which you can think is called the city on 7 hills? There are 2 places in the world at least called that, but one of them is Rome. So over and over again, we see these indicators that seem to apply Roman Catholicism. It's mysterious, it's religious, it's prideful, it's universal, it's mother worship, it's description, where you light candles, where you go to get married, where they burn incense. All of these things seem to apply to Babel and to the Roman Catholic Church. But there's one little twist I want to give you here at the end, and I'm going to tell you what I believe. I think Roman Catholic Church is somewhat the right answer, but not totally the right answer. Just like all the nations of the world are going to come together under the leadership of one man, the Antichrist, and there's going to, for a little while, be worldwide peace and unification. I believe that the various religions of the world are going to come together, and they'll maintain some autonomy, just like the nations will, but they'll also unite to a certain degree and come together under the authority of the Roman Catholic Church. It says in verse 3, it says, I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy. Not just one name. She has one name, the mother of harlots, Mystery Babylon. But she's full of names, abomination, blasphemy, religious imposters, if you will. And I think that it's going to include all the big religions that you know. They're all going to unite. All the separate individual names unite under one cooperative body into a one world religion led by the Roman Catholic Church. You say, do you know that for sure? No, I don't. It's a mystery. But I think there's some clues to give us hints that we might understand a little bit to what God refers. I hope you have a great week. See you next time.
Thanks so much for listening. If you have a question you'd like to have answered, mention it in the comments field below, or visit us at www.answersfromscripture.online.